If George Floyd's murderer is not sentenced, just know that all hell is going to break loose. Don't be surprised when buildings are on fire. Just saying.
What could be going on behind the continued protests and calls to abolish the police? An expert on Marxist groups and their covert influence says racial tensions are being used to spark a revolution in the United States.
Derek Chauvin has been found guilty on all 3 charges, but many groups and individuals are saying this isn't enough. America's law enforcement system is inherently racist and needs to be abolished. As an infamous Marxist saying goes, the issue is never the issue is always the revolution. Trevor Loudon is an expert on radical groups and their influence. He says the issue isn't about justice for George Floyd, police brutality, or racism, it's the revolution.
This is a demonization of the United States, and the demonization is there to set this country up for a socialist communist revolution. What you're seeing here is there's a narrative being set up. The goal is to destroy the police, to destroy power structures in America, because you need to destroy those before you can have a revolution.
Loudon listed a number of Marxist organizations that push the narrative of systemic racism in America and advocate for abolishing the police. Some of these either openly support the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, or have connections to it. Loudon says causing division through racial tensions and destroying America's institutions is in the interest of the CCP, and that the regime works behind the scenes with many of these groups to fan the flames. The Facebook event co-organized by the organization said if Chauvin is not found guilty, there will be hell to pay, and we will take to the streets in our rage at a system that is incapable of delivering any justice to black people. Once the verdict was announced, the organization credited those who had taken to the streets, followed by this tweet, which clearly states their goals. People will still be marching tonight. As an organization, we see community control as a positive reform before we achieve revolution. Keep organizing. We have a world to win. Certain politicians are also suggesting Chauvin's guilty verdict is not enough. Loudon says that class or interracial struggle has driven numerous revolutions throughout history. Words like equality and justice are used to conceal the true goal of the movements. Loudon urges the unsuspecting Americans aiding this agenda to wake up. He says things will get worse until people see the communist tactics for what they are and stand up against them.
How to get power and how to be in control. The way to get in control is not to allow them to win.
What needs to happen that's different this year than all the years before?
We're looking for a guilty verdict. We're looking for a guilty verdict, and we're looking to see if all of the talk that took place and has been taking place after they saw what happened to George Floyd, if nothing does not happen, then we know that we've got to not only stay in the street, but we've got to fight for justice. But I am very hopeful, and I hope that we're going to get a verdict that will say guilty, guilty, guilty. And if we don't, we cannot go away.
And not just manslaughter, right? I mean...
Oh, no, not manslaughter. No. This is guilty for murder. I don't know whether it's in the first degree, but as far as I'm concerned, it's first degree murder.
What should protesters do?
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business. So, yes, I would like to see the bill in Congress pass on police reform, but I know that the right wing, the racists, are opposed to it. And I don't know what's going to happen to it, but I know this, we've got to stay in the street.
What do you think about this curfew tonight?
I don't think anything about curfew. I don't think anything about curfew. I don't know what curfew means. And so I'm hopeful that the protests will continue. Thank you.
People will do what they do.
Be in order. Make them pay.